The scariest economic collapse. Inflation is a phenomenon where the general level of prices for goods and services in an economy rises over time. Inflation can be caused by various factors, such as an increase in the money supply, higher demand for goods and services, and a decrease in the supply of goods and services. High inflation can have severe economic consequences, such as decreased purchasing power, decreased investment, and economic instability. If you are new to this channel, welcome, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel Wealthy Hustler. The New World Order refers to the changing global political and economic landscape, characterized by shifts in the balance of power, the emergence of new economic powers, and changing geopolitical dynamics. The New World Order is a concept that has been used to describe the changing nature of international relations since the end of the Cold War. The term has been used to describe a variety of developments, including the growth of global trade and economic integration, the rise of new economic powers such as China, and the emergence of new geopolitical alliances and rivalries. The relationship between inflation and the New World Order is complex and multifaceted. On the one hand, inflation can be influenced by global economic policies that are determined by international organizations and institutions such as the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Trade Organization, WTO. These institutions play a significant role in shaping the global economic landscape and can have a significant impact on inflation rates. For example, the IMF and the World Bank provide financial and technical assistance to countries experiencing economic crises, such as hyperinflation. These institutions may prescribe economic policies, such as austerity measures, to help stabilize the economy and reduce inflation rates. Similarly, the WTO is responsible for regulating international trade and ensuring that trade between countries is conducted fairly and transparently. Changes in trade policies or tariffs can lead to changes in the prices of goods and services, which can in turn impact inflation rates. On the other hand, the New World Order can also impact inflation indirectly by affecting global trade and economic relations. For example, the emergence of new economic powers, such as China, has led to a shift in the global balance of power and economic relationships between countries. China's rise as an economic power has led to increased competition for resources and markets, which can impact the prices of goods and services and ultimately affect inflation rates. Additionally, geopolitical developments can impact inflation by affecting the supply of goods and services. For example, political instability in oil-producing countries can lead to disruptions in the global oil supply, which can impact the prices of oil and other goods and services. COVID-19 pandemic is another example of a geopolitical event that has had a significant impact on the global economy and has contributed to inflationary pressures. Furthermore, the New World Order can impact inflation by influencing the policies of individual countries. For example, countries may adopt economic policies to protect their domestic industries and reduce their dependence on foreign goods and services. These policies can lead to higher prices for domestic consumers, which can contribute to inflation. In conclusion, while inflation may not be directly connected to the New World Order, it is undoubtedly influenced by the complex interplay of global economic and political factors, which can be shaped by changes in the world order. The New World Order is a constantly evolving concept, and its impact on inflation is likely to continue to evolve over time. Understanding the relationship between inflation and the New World Order is essential for policymakers, investors, and businesses looking to navigate the global economic landscape. Those who believe it is a temporary blip caused by pandemic-related supply chain disruptions, and those who see it as a more serious and long-term problem. The temporary blip argument. Explain the temporary blip argument in detail, providing evidence and examples of how pandemic-related factors, such as supply chain disruptions, labor shortages, and pent-up demand, have contributed to price increases. Discuss the role of fiscal and monetary policies in mitigating the effects of inflation, including stimulus spending, interest rate adjustments, and central bank interventions. Analyze the potential drawbacks and unintended consequences of relying solely on temporary measures to address inflation. The more serious problem argument. Outline the more serious problem argument, which holds that inflation is not just a temporary blip, but a symptom of deeper structural issues in the economy, such as excessive money supply, rising debt levels, and increasing wealth inequality. explore the historical context of inflation, examining past episodes of high inflation and their causes, as well as the long-term consequences for the economy and society. Consider the potential risks of downplaying inflation and failing to address its underlying causes, including reduced confidence in the economy, higher borrowing costs, and social unrest. Part 3. The way forward. Assess the merits and limitations of each argument, weighing the evidence and arguments presented in Parts 1 and 2. Provide a nuanced view of the inflation debate, acknowledging both the temporary and long-term factors contributing to rising prices. Suggest potential policy solutions for addressing inflation, including a mix of short-term and long-term measures, such as supply chain investments, wage increases, tax reform, and monetary policy adjustments. Discuss the potential trade-offs and challenges involved in implementing these policy solutions, including political resistance, distributional effects, and unintended consequences. Conclusion. The inflation debate is one of the most pressing economic issues facing policymakers and individuals today. As we have seen throughout this video, there are two main arguments about the nature and severity of inflation. On one hand, some argue that rising prices are a temporary blip caused by pandemic-related disruptions to supply chains and labor markets. On the other hand, others argue that inflation is a more serious and long-term problem caused by structural issues such as excessive money supply, rising debt levels, and increasing wealth inequality. While both arguments have merit, it is clear that a nuanced and balanced approach is needed to address inflation effectively. Ignoring the temporary factors that are contributing to price increases would be short-sighted and could lead to unnecessary economic pain. However, downplaying the long-term factors that are driving inflation could lead to much more severe consequences in the future. Inflation is not necessarily directly connected with the New World Order, as the causes and effects of inflation are complex and multifaceted. However, inflation can be influenced by various factors that are related to the global political and economic landscape, which can be influenced by changes in the world order. For example, inflation can be influenced by global economic policies, such as monetary and fiscal policies, which are often determined by international organizations and institutions, such as the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Trade Organization, WTO. These institutions play a significant role in shaping the global economic landscape and can have a significant impact on inflation rates. Additionally, the New World Order can impact inflation indirectly by affecting global trade and economic relations. For example, changes in trade policies or tariffs can lead to changes in the prices of goods and services, which can in turn impact inflation rates. The emergence of new economic powers and changing geopolitical dynamics can also impact inflation by altering the balance of power and economic relationships between countries. Inflation is not necessarily directly connected with the New World Order, as the causes and effects of inflation are complex and multifaceted. In conclusion, the inflation debate is complex and multifaceted and requires a nuanced and balanced approach to address effectively. By acknowledging both the short-term and long-term factors contributing to inflation and working collaboratively to find policy solutions, individuals and policymakers can navigate this economic challenge and ensure a stable and prosperous future for all. After all this happening around us, what do you think? Are we on a brink of having the New World Order taking over, or it's just some temporary aftermath of the pandemic? Let us know about your feedback in the comment section below. And also let us know if you have any suggestions regarding our next video.